My name is Stacia Scaduto. I'm here with Commercial Utility Consultants. And again, we're going to talk about the City of Linden's Energy Aggregation Program. So I'm going to go through the whole program, what it means, how we got here, how this is beneficial for you, and again, kind of go through, there's a lot of steps in the process, so I'm going to go through that for you. And then again, if you have questions, we can go through them at the end. So who is Commercial Utility Consultants? I want to make the distinction because on your paperwork you received a lot of information about Constellation Energy Services. They're the supplier. We are appointed by the city as the energy consultant, energy agent. We were founded in 1975, so we've been around for 40-some years. Long history in dealing with energy consulting, utility analysis, that type of thing. Over all of that time, we've saved our clients over $2 billion, again, through either savings or rate analysis. We were appointed by the city as the energy consultant, and we're also licensed by the BPU, which is the Board of Public Utilities. So how did we get here today? It starts with energy deregulation. And what is energy deregulation? Basically, it is the separation between your supply, your actual energy consumption, versus the delivery. Okay, if you pay attention to your bill, you'll see those two different charges for both your gas and electric. You'll see the separation between supply and delivery. So that's deregulation. They separated it. 31 states did so, and we've been in New Jersey separated since 1999. Right now, less than 18% of residents have chosen a third-party supplier. Okay, again, that separation. It gave folks the ability to choose a supplier separate from the utility company. So let's go through this picture real quick. So before 1999, how the energy worked and how it was supplied to you was it went from the power plant, the generation plant, directly to the utility company, and then to you. After deregulation, again, after that separation of the delivery and the supply, goes from a power plant or the generation company to an electric supplier, basically a third-party supplier, to the utility company, and then to you. So since 1999, the big difference in the change that what it affected is that the utility company's job is just getting the energy to you. Okay, again, based on this lower picture here, they no longer generate the energy. Okay, so that's an important point because that's, again, kind of how we got where we are today. So, if they don't generate the energy any longer, where do they get the electricity from? How do they set the rates? Everything goes through the BGS auction, which is Basic Generation Supply. Again, if you look on your bill and you don't have another supplier, that's what's going to show on your bill. Under both your gas, it's going to say BGS commodity for gas and BGS commodity for electricity. This is overseen, again, by the BPU, the Board of Public Utilities. This auction for getting the supply for all the utilities in the state is held once a year, actually in February, so it's coming up. And again, that's what sets the rates. The rates are set from June 1st for the summer rate through September 30th, and then the winter rate is effective October through May. This cycles every single year. So for 2015, these are the folks that are actually supplying the energy to the state of New Jersey utilities. Okay, we have BP Energy, which is British Petroleum, Exelon, a gigantic company, Next Era, PSE&G actually does have a small, very small section, and TransCanada as a couple just to note out. Okay, so again, going back to that slide, these are the folks that are supplying and going through the utility lines to get the energy to you. My guess is you didn't pick any one of these. The state picked them for you, and this is who's going through PSE&G today. So there's a price to compare. Why is this important? Because we want for you to understand what the rate is that's coming through the auction versus what we're offering you. So you can figure out, yeah, there's a savings here, or there's not, or it's not enough, whatever it might be for you to make your individual decision. So currently, today, and it does fluctuate within thousandths of a penny every so often, but you're looking at an average of 0.1212, so just over 12 cents. We are looking at an increase because we already know there's certain regulatory increases that are going to go into effect, and the Board of Public Utilities have already approved for June 1st. There's going to be an increase. We're anticipating that increase to get you to over 13 cents effective June 1st. So you have a couple of months at the 12.12, and we'll be going to 13 shortly. So today, here we are, government energy aggregation. What is it? Why is this big long word? Why are we talking about it? In 2003, the BPU had allowed for municipalities to have government energy aggregation. And that was for their municipal buildings, rec centers just like this, city hall, courthouses, whatever might be on the city's bill, if you will, that they have to pay their electric. It allowed for them to aggregate their usage between all of their owned properties, streetlights are included, to get a better rate. Almost every single municipality that we're aware of in the state participates in that type of a program. They bundle everything together to get a better rate. So the BPU looked at that and they said, hey, it works for the municipalities. Let's see if this is going to work and something that they can offer residents and do something very similar. So in 2012, they reenacted what we refer to as Title 14. And Title 14 basically gave us the roadmap in figuring out how to do this aggregation for residents that live within those municipalities. Just like any other city process, things have to be followed. So they had to adopt an ordinance. The city adopted that in December of 2013. And actually since then, we've been working very hard at trying to get some savings for you. It wasn't until the energy market dipped that we were able to come up with a good rate that was offered to you in your mailings. So this particular program is overseen by state agencies. The BPU, the Rate Council, which is the ratepayer advocate, and also the DCA, which is the Department of Community Affairs. Everything we do, we have 20-some pages worth of rules that we have to follow. Every single thing we do is overseen by those state agencies. So, remember I said there was an auction that sets the state rates? We did the same thing. We had an auction that is going to set the rate for the city and the city's residents. We were able to compete against the BPU rate that they offered. We had that auction in October, and the winning supplier is Constellation Energy. Again, all of that information was mailed out to you. So we have the auction results of 1187 versus the 1212. Now, the important thing here is that this is fixed for the entire term. Okay, it is a 6-month contract. The city said, let's try this out for a couple months, see how it goes. So it's fixed, meaning it's not one of those variable rate contracts. Lots of folks, and this young lady over here, I was talking to her earlier, seems like she had one of those, ended up getting very high bills. Through this program, those variable rates are not allowed. So I always say it's fixed for the term. Okay, the contract term starts in March, so in a couple of weeks. Once your March readings happen, your meter read, that's when that rate will go into effect for you, and it'll go through August. Now in the meantime, we're going to keep going out and see whether or not we can get another rate for an extended term, if this is working for everybody. Okay, for whatever reason we can't get another reduced rate, or the city says we don't want to do it anymore, everyone automatically gets transferred back to PSE&G, and there's nothing you have to do. So what's next? We're basically at that point. We're at a point that we call the opt-out period. Because as you read in the information sent to you, it is an opt-out program. And what that means is everyone's included unless you decide that you don't want to have the reduced rate. The opt-out period remains in effect until 2/4. Now that's just the initial opt-out period, meaning if you never want to be enrolled, you want to opt out prior to that date. However, you come into it and it's May 1st, June 1st, for whatever reason you don't like the program, you find a better rate somewhere else. Maybe a niece or a nephew decides to start working for a third party and you want to help and work with them. You can opt out at any time afterwards. It's just going to take you 1 meter read cycle after that to do so, approximately 1 meter read. You got your mailer. We're hosting our meetings now. And again, after that first period, you can opt out. As part of the state written program, there's no fees. There's no early termination fees. There's no penalties for opting out at any time. You can opt back in. There's no fee to come back into the program if you say, that didn't work, let me jump back in and get the reduced rate again. So how do residents opt out? You can mail the form that was attached to your mailer and send that back to Constellation. You can go through their website, you can go through their call center, and you can still do this through PSE&G as well. So what should you expect? After the 30 days, PSE&G will send you a letter and say, hey folks, you decided to be part of this program. Just be advised that within maybe the next 7 to 10 days, this is going to take effect or on such date. You have the next couple of days to further rescind if you don't want to do so. It's just kind of the last little stopgap that the state put in there to make sure you didn't miss the first mailer. Gives you another opportunity to think about this if that's what you want to do. And then as I said, the supply will start with everybody's meter read in March. Everybody has a different meter read. And then once you're switched over, you're still going to get one bill from PSE&G. Okay, you're going to have your gas part up top. You're going to have the electricity portion for your delivery for PSE&G. And I'm pointing that out because a lot of folks, when they see that, they think that they're getting billed twice. You're not, because again, remember, there's always delivery, there's always supply. It's for the gas, and that's for the electric. So they're going to charge their delivery charge just like they do today, and then you're going to see a section on there that says Constellation Energy Charges, and that's going to have your electricity charges. So here's a sample. This is the only thing on your bill that changes. This yellow arrow there, it's a little bit fuzzy, but it says BGS Energy. Remember I talked about that earlier, Basic Generation Service. So instead of it saying BGS Energy, it's going to say Constellation Energy Services. Okay? Your rates are going to be there. Now this little section down here, and again I apologize, it's blurry. There's a section on your bill, and it's going to be there every month for you. This is where you get to check us. Okay, we told you that the rate's going to be there. We told you there's going to be a reduction. This little paragraph is going to tell you you're purchasing your energy from a third-party supplier. If you purchased it from us, this is how much you would have paid. So you're going to see your charges, and you're going to see the difference right on your bill every single month. It's very transparent.
Lady across the street.
Couple of questions. So who do I call if my electricity goes out? You still call PSE&G. They still deliver every service that you're getting through them. It is still PSE&G because again, it's their infrastructure. You're paying them to deliver the energy. You call them if there's an emergency. Will we be penalized if I do not become part of the program? Absolutely not. You can always opt out at any time. Will there be a different or two separate bills? No, again, everything comes through PSE&G. One bill, you pay PSE&G, done deal. Does this hurt PSE&G? We've had some other programs and there were some shareholders, maybe they thought their stock was going to go down. It's absolutely not going to hurt them. Again, if you go back to those earlier slides, which I showed the two pictures of 1999 before and after, for 17 years this has been their model. They don't make money on the electricity anymore. So it doesn't hurt them in any way. Who do I call with billing questions? PSE&G. They prepare your bill. You can call Constellation. You can call our offices. We'll definitely try to help you. I already mentioned if I opt out, can I opt back in? Absolutely. You can come and go through the program. The only difference is you have to wait that about 1 meter read. Is budget billing offered? Typically it is. But because this program is a shorter 6-month period, we can't offer the budget bill program. And the reason is typically budget bill is spread out. They take your usage and spread it out in payments over a 12-month period. Because this is 6 months, that's going to shorten it and double your bill. We don't want that. Obviously, this is supposed to be a savings program. So for this particular initial, there isn't budget billing. If we go into the next cycle that it's longer, over a 12-month period, if that happens, it will be offered and folks will get that information at that time. If I already have a third-party supplier, you're not automatically included in the program. Okay, you actually wouldn't have received the mailer. And that reason is when it was written, they figured somebody already made this decision on their own. They did the research for whatever reason. They chose that company. So people with third-party suppliers are not automatically included. Can they join? Absolutely. We just ask, make sure that you check your contract, that there are no penalties. A lot of those individuals do have early termination fees attached with those, so you want to check that. But certainly, or at the end of that term, we can sweep you in. No problem. So the big question, why do I have to opt out versus opting in? This is one of the biggest questions that we get all the time. And to be very simple about it, it's the way that the state statute's written. Okay? In order to run the program, that's how it's written, and everyone is included unless they decide not to be. However, if you think about it, and remember I told you about the BGS auction and I listed all of those major companies, nobody chose those for you. You're already in an opt-out program if you think about it. Until you find another supplier, you're in the state's program. So we're kind of doing the same thing. Okay? The difference is we're giving you the benefit of a reduced rate with protections. Okay? No fees, no penalties. Come and go through the program as you please. And you know, again, you have all of those protections and benefits for you. So that's my spiel. What do you guys have for me? Questions?
First bill for the PSE&G and or supply for that, and then
It's one bill. It's going to be on the PSE&G bill, and it'll be listed as Constellation under the electric portion. Okay? Good. All right, folks. Thank you. Appreciate you coming out tonight. You know, the weather was a little hairy. If you have any questions, you know, we're going to be here for a little bit. You can come up afterwards. Please, you know, talk to your neighbors. Please tell them to come out. We're here tonight at 7, and next Wednesday, I believe, at 3:30 and 7 also. All right. Thanks, folks. I appreciate it.